Ladies and gentlemen, it is Christmas Eve at the time of the recording. And by the way, take a look at how things are going today for Walt Disney World when it comes to wait times. Is it crowded? Is it not? Is it hot? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this December has been a bit of a, well, not a giver to Disney. We'll show you the wait times in just a second. But first of all, let's take a look at how Disney has been doing this December. If we go down on Thrill Data, you can see that today, again, as of recording, it's Christmas Eve. 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10 on the crowded level. There's a problem here, I'm telling you, okay? Let's go down to December charts. That's where we're going to start with this one. And ladies and gentlemen, here it is. December. We are not even up to November yet. We are all towards the end. We got 1 week left for this thing to do what it's got to do. And if we go back, you can see that November last year is significantly higher than December this year. And of course, if we go back to those prior Decembers, for example, in 2021, average wait time 41 minutes. In 2022, average wait time 46 minutes. In 2023, average time 42 minutes. And now the average wait time is only 30 minutes. So that's down by about 1/3. Is that because Disney is suddenly better at managing crowd levels? I don't think so. Here's what we've got. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are at Magic Kingdom on Christmas Eve, crowd levels are set at a 4, which means less than average. Astro Orbiter is 25 minutes. Enchanted Tales with Belle is literally a walk-on. The Haunted Mansion is down and has been down most of the day, so you can't ride it. It's a Small World is 10 minutes. You can ride It's a Small World in 10 minutes on Christmas Eve. You can meet Ariel at her grotto for 25 minutes. I mean, this is rather amazing. I did not expect it to be this bad. Now, sure, Seven Dwarfs and Space Mountain are over 70 minutes, but this is, I mean, everybody apparently is trying to ride Tron, but you can barely notice here, if you can see the little gray area, Tron was down, so that's why it's at that kind of wait time. It was down for a significant portion of the day. All right, what about Epcot? What are we looking at? Let's take a look, folks. At Epcot, again, very few rides to do, but most of these times are right in line with what you would think. Remy's Ratatouille, suddenly 2D, 40 minutes. The Seas with Nemo and Friends, 25 minutes. Soarin' is at 50 minutes, which is pretty darn impressive. I don't know why it would be at that time length. Spaceship Earth is a half hour, Test Track at 105. So we can say that Epcot is average. These are not crazy wait times. These are average wait times, especially when you consider that at Epcot, if you've got Lightning Lane, you're skipping 3 of these rides. And guess what, folks? If you're skipping 3 of the rides, you're skipping the ones that have the longest wait times. That's how it works at Disney these days. Going on over to Hollywood Studios, crowd level is a 3 on Christmas Eve. What does that mean? It means that Star Tours is 10 minutes. It means that Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is at 45 minutes. Toy Story Mania is currently down. So that's why the wait times seem inflated. Rise of Resistance has been down. So that's why these wait times are up. We've had multiple attractions, multiple big attractions. Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway actually is down right now. In fact, let's count. How many rides have not been down on Christmas Eve at Hollywood Studios? You ready for this? Aliens Whirling Saucer has been up the whole time. 1. Let's see here. Smuggler's Run is 2. Rock and Roller Coaster is 3. Slinky Dog is 4. Star Tours is 5. And Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is 6. 6 attractions at Hollywood Studios have been up since opening without being down. 6. Crowd level 3. Can't imagine why. And finally, over to Animal Kingdom. Crowd size is a 4 out of 10, again, on Christmas Eve. Are we telling you that it's empty? No, we're not telling you it's empty. But it's not like it used to be. Vash, what the heck is going on here? Why are we seeing these crowd levels for Christmas Eve? Frankly, I'm kind of surprised. I was not expecting this. I expected to come in and talk about a 5 or a 6 out of 10 on crowd level and say what used to be an 8 or a 9. This is actually way worse for our store here. What's going on, Vash?
Yeah, this is surprising to me because when we were setting this up, it was like, okay, well, let's go ahead and try to see if we can forecast this and try to predict this. Yes, we did forecast that it would be down, but not to this extent. This is quite large, and I do think there's a couple of things playing out here. But one of those being that people are doing other things this Christmas Eve. I mean, quite frankly, people have look at the value, the perceived value at Walt Disney World, and are simply like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go over to this place, or I'm going to stay with family, or I'm going to go to this tourist destination and so forth. There are other options in the marketplace, and I guess people are opting for those, especially right now for Magic Kingdom, for example. That would be probably the place with the most amount of merriment, right? But do you necessarily want to go there when it's, walls everywhere, especially in the Rivers of America section of that theme park right there, where there aren't those holiday overlays that they used to have? Remember for like Country Bears, for example, they don't do that anymore. So it's it's I think people are kind of coming to this realization that it just may not be worth the hassle, the fatigue of getting into a theme park, especially if it's very crowded on this day, in order to enjoy a Christmas celebration with the family.
Vash, permission to do just a little bit of genteel pushback. May I do just a little bit of genteel pushback?
Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me pull this and show this real quick. I want to go to Thrill Data for Islands of Adventure. Okay, now Vash didn't know I was going to do this. I actually just stumbled upon it while he was discussing this. I wanted to check and see what's going on.
Sure.
Look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently sitting at almost in the red for Islands of Adventure in Florida, Universal Studios on Christmas Eve, whereas the Disney parks are at a 4 out of 10 uncrowded level. So something is going on here, Vash.
But that's exactly what I said. I said, look, there are other tourist destinations. There are other places in order to take the family on Christmas Eve. And
they're choosing those other places. Yeah, they're choosing those places over Disney. Why, Vash? Why are they choosing? Yeah, what's going on with this? Because Disney, I'm not trying to be rude to Islands or Universal, but they're not like, look at this. I associate Disney with Christmas. I do. It's easier to imagine, the Main Street decorated in the Christmas stuff, rather than a velociraptor with a Santa hat, which is at Universal.
Sure, but you have you have a bunch of families and maybe parents included in that don't necessarily associate Christmas with Disney in the same way that you did. And especially in recent years, as I think Universal has gotten a little bit more aggressive when it comes to getting people over and having people celebrate the holidays with them, whether it be Halloween, whether it be stuff involving Mardi Gras and other things. People are going over there and saying, "Hey, you know what? This place can actually support those holiday festivities." And so they're discovering it and noticing the value that they get when going over there. They understand that hey, their attractions maybe not they may not encounter as much downtime as Disney's, and they're opting for those other places. Look, it is extremely surprising, but we are seeing shifts in the marketplace. And Disney, well, they shouldn't be all that surprised, given that they haven't been value oriented for the last couple of years. They haven't invested in their theme parks in the same way that maybe Universal has, and people are getting a little bit wiser and choosier with how they spend their money.
Well, it's less offerings for more money, and they've abandoned America. Let's start with that. In addition to abandoning America, Disney also abandoned the Osborne spectacle of twinkling lights, which was a huge draw. And I went to the very last year. I bought the T-shirt and the merchandise and all of that. But I didn't buy any of the lights like I did with the stupid electrical parade that was supposed to be glowing away forever. That crap. But I'm going to tell you, Disney had a history of bringing back the things that they were dismissing. The Osborne lights are never coming back. And I'm just going to tell you that they've abandoned Christmas for this new global phenomenon of nothingness and garbage-tasticness that they have everywhere in all the parks.
You're offended by holiday-mas?
No, I like holidays. Disney decided not to have them. And look, they're terrified of being globally perceived as having celebrated Christmas.
Right, that's why it's generic holiday must. That's what I'm saying for you.
Yeah.
Culture, maybe I wasn't articulate in the joke.
No, it's okay.
But the joke is they want to celebrate the holidays without recognizing the holidays that they're celebrating necessarily. I mean, only if it makes them money, right? But they don't want to actually do anything. Get your darn nativity out of the Magic Kingdom. We'll put it over to Epcot if it makes us money, and that's it. Candlelight processional, but only if you pay for the thing. That's all they want to do. Well, and other times too, right?
Well, their showcase to the world is Disney World. Let's have that conversation, right? We're looking right now at the only representation of Christmas in Disneyland because of Nightmare Before Christmas. If this wasn't something they could set up before October and take down immediately in January, I don't think we would still have this overlay. I think Disney is terrified of being perceived as not being in the globalist side of the equation, which is why they are in the politics that they're in. And it's why you get holiday-mas, as you suggest, and I kind of like that, rather than any Christmas celebration. I am embarrassed for Disney. I used to be a Disney fan. I became a Disney apologist, and now I am very And I think a lot of people would probably perceive I'm kind of anti-Disney now, despite the fact that I do a lot of work with
I
you
never
guys.
gathered that from you. No, I won't allow it, Culture. I will not allow you to say that because it's untrue. You are not anti-Disney. You're not.
Okay. All
You're
right.
not. No, you're not.
Okay.
You're not.
All right.
Culture, you're anti-Bob.
Well,
You're anti-Bob Iger Company. You're not anti-Walt Disney. Walt Disney is a good man who did good things. You're not anti that guy.
You're right. And I grew up with it, and I still have major Disney supporters in my family. And I'm just ashamed of what Disney's become.
Right,
And
the Bob Iger Company. You don't like it.
I'm embarrassed for what they have and the people that lead it right now. And I think one of the worst leaders right now has a shot of being CEO or co-CEO. And I think Dana Walden is the exact poison that you take if you want to completely destroy a company. So, that's all I'm saying.
Let me get Erika in here because I want to find out if she agrees with you. Erika, Culture has a problem with the Bob Company, okay? He doesn't like Bob Co. Erika, is that why the crowds are at a 3 out of 10 on Magic Kingdom on Christmas Eve? What do you think? Do they share in Culture sentiment or is something else happening?
I think so. I think the ongoing boycott of the nuclear family or the nuclear family boycotting Disney is still definitely ongoing. There's still distrust. And then there's the money factor. They've upped their prices to the point where they've outpriced a lot of people. So it's a combination of both. And I 100% agree with Culture.
Well,
Disney is not the family company they used to be. It seems Universal embraces Christmas. They embrace Merry Christmas and the Grinch and the Dr. Seuss land is so much more family oriented than what Disney is offering, even down to the Dr. Seuss show of the Grinch. And I see more family togetherness over there and family messaging versus Disney. It has become very generic.
well,
I totally agree. I thought Vash was coming in. Go ahead, Vash.
No, I thought Culture and Erika have brought up some great points, especially when it comes to like value and price. Because look, what are you getting for your money? They don't have the dream lights anymore. That's something that's off the table. As Culture beautifully pointed out, they don't have the Osborne spectacle of lights. A lot of the entertainment options that they used to provide and used to include, well, they have now been paywalled with these, various after-hour parties like Jollywood Nights, for example, or Very Merry Christmas Party. It's surprising to me as well that Very Merry Christmas Party doesn't actually take place tonight, and yet we are still seeing the crowds as low as they are. It would make sense if, let's say, there was a party tonight and everybody was opting to go to that, but they're not even doing that at this point. So in years past, Christmas Eve was a huge, massive, massive day. Like you said, bro, 9 out of 10. But this whittling down of the experience, I think it's caught up to them.
Nolan, I go to you to give us your thoughts on this. When it comes to Disney parks losing on Christmas Eve crowd levels to Universal Studios, again, it just seems difficult to imagine that would happen. It's the opposite of, I think, what naturally would occur. People tend to just think of Mickey, and maybe it's the Christmas carols, maybe it's stuff like that, but people think about Mickey Mouse and Disney and Christmas. They kind of go together, right? In a way that the Universal properties probably don't. Maybe you could make an argument for Harry Potter, but I don't know. I just think this is an odd thing and maybe a change of guard this year.
No, I don't think you're crazy on the matter. There's a really good, I hate to use this term because it's kind of a corporate term, but there's a good synergy with everything, It's natural. Like, you think about Disney, I got to experience Jollywood Nights for the first time a few weeks ago. And I love the vibe of the Coco, the Christmas aesthetic, all that. There's a rich culture of history with Disney and Christmas. Their merchandise speaks for it volumes, the amount of Christmas stuff you just see at your regional stores around the time of year. I think one of the big factors that go into these crowds is not just, the divisiveness of the politics of our day, not even to take a stance on any of that matters. It's the pricing for one thing as well. I mean, right now, the economy is at a very frustrating time, and when you have a brand new theme park right down the street, maybe a family wants to be like, hey, maybe we should save up a little bit of money and then make a big trip next year. And we already have to factor in gifts for the family, for grandma, grandpa, or just friends. Friends Christmas is definitely a thing now, or heck, maybe you're getting a gift for your cat or dog. But I just think Disney has just gotten so priced crazy that it's just not practical for a lot of people that are hurting right now. And if they want to have a big trip, they want to splurge like crazy. And Christmas, in your local area already has some options. Will I say Disney Christmas is magical? Yes, I will definitely vouch for it. But the pricing, it ain't the most magical place on earth.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.